Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Friday the 29th of November. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which is in this bull flag here above the 50-day moving average. Just checking to see whether that's starting to rise, which I suppose it just about is. So hopefully this is a mid-move consolidation ahead of a move up to, say, 8,400. Best case scenario by the end of the year, by the end of December, up to 8,600 at the top of that channel, which we should get given that this is seasonally the best time of the year, or the next few weeks are. On the downside, hoping that we won't have anything lower than the 200-day moving average, 8140. Moving on to the DAX, and here you can see that having a go at breaking that October resistance line. If we do, then we're looking for this market to head up to the top of the channel there, 20,600, maybe by the end of next month if we're really very lucky, hoping that support will be maintained at the floor of that rising trend channel from this time last year towards 19,000. Above 19,000, hopefully we'll get that breakout that we've been looking for. Otherwise, it's probably more of this 19,000 to 19,500 range. RSI bounced off neutral 50, so that is a leading indicator on the upside. And if you look closely, you can see that we gapped up yesterday, and we're trying to break yesterday's resistance, so looking quite good there. Obviously, Thanksgiving knocks out the US, but going on to Bitcoin, and here a nice consolidation at sort of the higher end of the recent range. The recent range, I suppose, 91,000 to just shy of 100,000, so that is all good. The longer we can stay above that initial November peak at around 93,500, the greater the chance of a move through 100,000, then on to a best case scenario target as high as 120,000 by the end of next month. Obviously, we like to stay on the right side of 90,000. Worst case at the moment is that we have to hit that 88,000 previous target line there before heading up again. Moving on to gold, and here it's been a bit of a rocky ride, and looking better though after the sort of jiggery-pokery either side of the 50-day moving average. That's at 2680. We want to see an end of day or end of week close above that, and get up to at 2840. But obviously with the Americans out of gear at the moment, then not much movement expected. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with Andrada. Here you can see that nice bounce off that support line there from back in February. That support line there at 2.3 pence. Above that, looking for a minimum at the top of that falling wedge from the beginning of the year around the 3 pence or 3.1 pence area. Best case is that this is the low. The low is in place below, well, towards 2p, and we get up to 4.2 pence at the top of that broadening triangle from July by the end of the year. Probably deserve that now given recent news. Moving on to Audioboom, where it looks as though the pesky seller at 260 is perhaps relenting in terms of not selling their stock there, so we poked through that £200.60 area. The longer we stay above that, the greater the chance of a move up to the top of that rising trend channel from the this time last year at £3, and hopefully we get that by the end of next month. The other positive at the moment is both the 50 and 200-day lines are rising, and that suggests we're in the run-up to a golden cross, and that tends to be the strongest part of the cycle. In fact, we've already had the unfilled gap to the upside earlier this month, and that is also a decent charting setup. Moving on to Block, which I tweeted about yesterday because somebody was asking about it. Here we're basically looking pretty good in the sense we've broken that falling wedge from the spring and the 50-day moving average at 0.8. Above 0.8, we're looking for up to 1.15 at the top of that triangle there from June, and looking pretty good close up, especially after the bear trap gap reversal that we had to start the week. On to Blencowe, where we're in the run-up to a little webinar next Tuesday. What's interesting here, I suppose, is the dynamic between the current share price and the old 2024 support there around 3.6 pence. The longer we stay above 3.6, the greater the chance of a move up to the top of the recent range around 5.25 pence by the end of next month. On to Helix Exploration, which or who I interviewed yesterday. The shares seem to be bouncing back after that. Bounced off the floor of a broadening triangle there from back in May at 13.4 pence, and looking for the shares to fill the gap up to 21 pence, hopefully, over the next week or two, a bit like they did back in September. Obviously, we don't want to see the shares back below 13 pence at any time. MicroSalt is next, and stock that moves well in both directions. Currently it is moving up above a rising 50-day line. There's a gap, unfilled gap to the upside left there from the end of last month, which is bullish, and as is the 50-day line rising. So above the 200-day moving average at 76 pence. We're looking for £1.20 perhaps as soon as the end of next month. Punchy call, but the shares, as I said, can move when they want to. Moving along to MetalNRG, and here another company which I interviewed quite recently, and here trading either side of the 50-day line, which is slightly frustrating at 0.46 pence, but the overall view here is the longer we trade above 0.4 pence, the greater the chance of move to the top of the channel there from back in April at 0.76 pence. On to Optibiotix, which has managed to revive itself in the recent past. We broke the initial neckline resistance there around 13 pence. We've broken above the 50-day line also at 13 pence. The initial target here was the 200-day line around 19 pence, which we're very close to, but above that 200-day line, actually looking for 32 pence perhaps by the end of next month. Although it's a bit of a punchy call, there is a possibility that we can flip back and do that. Moving on to Oracle Power, which unlike recent rallies has managed to go up and stay up. Got this bull flag here, could even be a mid-move consolidation, and looking for the shares to get to the top of that broadening triangle from basically this time last year as high as 0.047 versus the 36 handle that we are at the moment. So the other point which is positive is the way that both the 50 and 200-day lines are rising. That suggests we're in the run-up to a golden cross, which I think would be the first time in a long time. Moving on to Premier African, which has also managed to revive itself. Must be a bull market with the some of these stocks going up. Nice little bull flag there on the daily chart, looking for an end-of-day close through 0.056 to take us as high as 0.09 by the end of next month. Obviously, we're always wary of fundraisers there, but at least the technicals are looking better than they have for quite some time. We haven't been above the 50-day line properly since back in March, so that is quite a change for Premier African. On to SteaksAI, and here we've broken through the 200-day line, 0.4 pence. We haven't been above there properly, basically, since the beginning of last year, so that is also a decent technical change. And looking for the shares to hit the top of that broadening triangle from back in April at 0.67 by the end of next month, especially while we remain above that 200-day line. On to the last two. The first one is TomCo Energy, and here nice V-shaped breakout there through the initial November resistance at 0.055. We're looking for up to 0.1 pence at the top of that broadening triangle. Obviously it's a punchy call, but that V-shaped rebound off the 200-day line is a strong signal, and if we look back, we haven't been above the 200-day line properly basically for at least 2 years. So this is a turnaround. Let's see if it's a serious one over the next few days. Finishing off with Webis, and here I have one of my favorite little setups where a stock crashes and then closes above or breaks above the bottom of the gap. In this case, the bottom of the gap there at 0.15, above 0.15, we are looking for either a full or partial fill of the gap down from 0.4 pence. So maybe we get to 0.25, 0.3, that kind of thing as a minimum while we're above the floor of the gap. That's it for me today. More updates over the weekend.